Being with us here, we've got a very special edition of Weather Underground. Be with you till 9 o'clock Eastern Time tonight to cover severe weather. I'm Mike Bettis.
And I'm Alex Wilson. Gearing up for an active few days ahead of us. Massive spring storm system bringing severe weather to the plains tonight, but we think southeast tomorrow will be the big show, mid-Atlantic even into our Thursday.
We're breaking down everything for you tonight with our experts. First thing, though, we're going to
We are right within our threat zone. When we talk about the areas at greatest risk for severe weather, that area shaded in red. Notice Tulsa squarely in the zone. We're also watching northwest Arkansas, southwest Missouri, as well as parts of southeast Kansas. Torcons in these areas, 3 out of 10. That's indicating a 30% chance of a tornado within 50 miles of a place like Tulsa. You're looking at Tulsa right now on the lower left-hand side of your screen. There's the severe thunderstorm watch that is in place, parts of southwest Missouri, southeast Kansas, but a lot of Oklahoma and a little sliver of northwestern Arkansas. This is in effect until 9 o'clock local time. There's all those thunderstorms I mentioned still around the Tulsa area, but a lot of this now moving up towards the northwest or northeast corner of Oklahoma into southeastern Kansas. Notice we've got a few severe warnings, but we've also got plenty of storms that are not warned but are producing a lot of lightning. So got to watch for any of these storms. Any storm could be deadly that is producing lightning. Hail possible out of these ones, these storms rather. Craig, Delaware, Mays County under a severe thunderstorm warning, including the cities of Jay, Pryor, and Pryor Creek. Anywhere you see that magenta color indicative of the reflectivities that would tell us there's some hail within these storms. Here's the future radar moving forward in time. These storms lifting through parts of Arkansas and Missouri will keep the rain and thunderstorms around places like Wichita. That'll stay steadier into the evening and notice closer to the low, but strong storms possible, maybe bringing some gusty winds into the early morning hours in parts of central and eastern Missouri, even lifting into Illinois as we head into tomorrow morning, Mike.
Erika and Alex for answers on that.
Yeah, Dr. Erika Navarro here with us to talk about some of the why we're going to see such a potent setup for severe weather tomorrow as opposed to tonight.
Exactly. And so down at the surface, we are going to be having the ingredients that we need to help fuel that threat. But often we look up above in the atmosphere to see what the jet stream is doing, because this jet stream helps provide an additional lift here. And in this situation, it's really coming in very strong and taking on an orientation that indicates severe weather.
Okay, so today we saw the orientation. Then we see it slide and almost pivot a bit into tomorrow. And that comes into play.
Exactly. And then watch how it just wraps up over itself here, moving into the later part of the week. And these colors here showing you how much energy is associated with this system. The brighter the color, the higher the energy. And some of these winds with the jet stream are upwards of like 150 miles per hour. So it's a lot.
Could make for an interesting headwind too on some of those flights.
Yeah, if you're taking a flight tomorrow, maybe be prepared
for a little more time airborne. So here is the trough, and you mentioned the orientation of the trough really can come into play in determining how severe storms could be.
Exactly. And so here we're talking about a trough that takes on a positive tilt, and it's positive here because it's coming up and rising upwards in this sort of direction. And so this system is typically more for a developing system. It doesn't really have all the factors yet that really drive severe weather, so it could get a little bit spotty, but we don't really see a wide severe weather outbreak like we're talking about tomorrow.
Okay, so that's what we're watching for tonight. Again, the Torcons of 3, definitely hail producing, damaging wind producing storms, but tomorrow we have the opposite orientation.
Exactly. And so the air behind this trough that's coming in is very cold. Okay, and so when you have colder air above warmer air down at the surface, that's a situation the atmosphere doesn't like to be in. It creates a lot of instability because that cold air is heavy and wants to move down to the surface. So you can get these very strong updrafts over a very broad region in this type of situation. And you have these very strong winds up above at the surface as well. So it creates what we call vertical wind shear, because you have very strong winds up top and then the lower ones are going a little slower down at the surface.
So a lot of the ingredients that we watch for. And you know, tomorrow we could see storms firing across this region as early as the morning.
Exactly. And then persisting even through the evening.
All right, Dr. Navarro, thank you. Welcome back into Weather Underground. Want to show you the active severe thunderstorm watch we've got right now for parts of Oklahoma. Also a bit of Missouri, Kansas, and Arkansas. But boy, this is where we've seen a lot of the action focus.
A lot of storms have been hitting us here near I-44. Really, it's been between I-40 and 44 where most of the active storms have been for us. Tulsa, it looks like some of that thread is now pushing east of you, thank goodness.
Yeah, a lot of hail within these storms. Anytime you're looking at the pink core in there, that's showing you the possibility of hail, and we've seen the ground truth to that. And a lot of photos people have been sending in of the hail there. These working up into parts of the east corner of Oklahoma, eventually towards places like Joplin and southeastern Kansas.
Yeah, look out here in Miami. It's going to be a pretty rough go for you here. We've got a hail core that's coming in as well, so be prepared to stay inside when these hit. Then tomorrow, big expanse of severe weather across the southeast, and actually goes all the way to the Ohio Valley.
Yeah, we're talking about torcons, say, of 7 in places like Montgomery and Atlanta. Even as you get up into Lexington, Kentucky, torcons of 6. So you mentioned a large expanse of a severe threat zone, but a very significant threat. A lot of the ingredients coming into play.
All right, so let's talk about those ingredients. Obviously, we talk about 4 things when it comes to severe weather: slim, shear lift, instability, and moisture. So we're going to show you 3-dimensionally this evening here in the lab a couple of those ingredients and why they are. So the slim factors overcome what happens with the rain in the morning.
Right, because we know we've got the factors. How will they combine together? If you can get those thunderstorms, that cloud cover really hanging on from the morning thunderstorms, it could limit. But be on alert throughout the day. We've got the morning thunderstorms likely, and we think a good chance that we'll be watching for some strong thunderstorms into the evening as well.
All right, we come back a lot more. And Drew, we could actually potentially see both of those over the next couple of days. So Dr. Erika Navarro here to talk more about those conditions. Let's first start with the classic supercell and the hook echo.
Exactly. This is a classic picture here of what we would call a supercell on a radar image. You can see this very well-defined hook echo in the back of this storm. And that, when you see that on the radar, that's when you start getting pretty serious and you start thinking tornado.
This is where the tornado lives, down in here. This is all the precipitation associated with a thunderstorm, the rain, the hail being pushed out the front end. But that down there is the business end.
It's the business end, and I'll show you why. So now that was before if we were sitting on a satellite looking down at the image, but now we're looking at it straight across. So you can see there's a lot of structure to these systems. So here's this very strong area of inflow moving up, and that's where we get those strong updrafts, the crazy hail that you sometimes see with these storms. But right here in the back edge of the storm, we get a downdraft. This is very cold air that's sinking down to the surface. And at the brink of these two areas where the winds are going very strongly in different directions, that's where we often see a tornado develop.
So when you end up seeing, all of us here at the Weather Channel, when we see the hook, we immediately, it gets our attention.
Yes.
But not all tornadoes are formed that classic way. Some are a little bit more deceiving, and that's what happens when you get a bow echo.
Exactly. So 2 very different systems. This supercell here has a rotating updraft. There's a lot of shear associated with this system, but a bow echo is a totally different story. And so Alex is here now to help me walk through this one.
Yeah, because we're looking basically at how we'd see them on the radar. So you're looking down at a radar image of a supercell thunderstorm. So once again, we're getting a look at that mature supercell with that hook.
Exactly. And again, this system is classified by very strong rotation, and so often this precipitation gets wrapped along the back edge of that system, and sometimes that could even obscure a tornado. So if you're out, if you're a spotter trying to see it, you may miss it because it's wrapped behind that rain. But again, it's right in this area in here where we would often see a tornado with a supercell.
Yeah, you point out very well that we don't always get that perfect hook.
No.
Now we look at a radar image of a bow echo. This would be that line of storms, that backward sea that you hear Dr. Forbes mention. So we've got some embedded areas of heavier precipitation, but it's that northern end that we have to watch.
Exactly. So usually in a bow echo, if you're going to get a tornado, it'll be in this northern region, because as this system bows out, you get winds going this direction up here and then winds going this direction up here. Again, very strong cyclonic shear, and so often a tornado will try to develop in this region. But not out of the question that you could also see some spin up on the front edge as well. And so these are going to be the weaker tornadoes. But again, a tornado is a tornado, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, we'll be watching for both the supercell and the bow echo variety of tornadoes as we go through the days. Tomorrow, we think more likely to see the supercell thunderstorms. That